Reddit.
I was having a tense conversation with someone that I was close to years ago. The conversation quickly devolved into a passive-aggressive fight that ended with the other person getting in the car and driving away. As I started heading back inside, the other person came back, got out of the car, and started our conversation again. The tone of voice was totally different and the stance was different and the feeling in the air was completely off. I don't know how else to explain it. As the conversation progressed, the other person started saying some nasty and mean things that were completely out of character. I said, "Person, this isn't like you." They said, "What makes you think that I'm person?" I remember continuing the conversation and talking to the person for a long time, but I don't remember anything specific. I do remember becoming more and more alarmed and knowing something wasn't right. Finally, I told the person to go home. They complied and left. I went back inside and started telling my sibling about the situation when the doorbell rang. Maybe 2-3 minutes had passed. It was the person coming back to apologize for the original fight. They had been driving around town for a long time and didn't want to go home, leaving things unresolved. I asked why they had said some of the things from the last conversation and they looked at me like I was crazy. They had no idea what I was talking about. Totally could have been lying, but that whole situation just felt dark. Scared the hell out of me.
The butthole was just a liar trying to get away with saying some deep hurtful-ish.
You gullible dope.
One day I was grabbing something from the fridge. I closed it up and took a step or so, about 2.5 feet, when I hear a soft clink. I turn around and on the floor is a nickel, which fell from somewhere in the middle of the kitchen. It wasn't from my pocket or stuck somewhere because it made a sound like it dropped from somewhere up high, like the top of my head high.
I wish a ghost would drop some hundreds.
Reddit.
My late husband had a habit of making snarky comments about me not having a dime to call him when I'd come home late. This was the 80s and cell phones weren't a thing yet. Fast forward, he died in 2010 and every time I get stressed out, I look down and find a dime. He's still telling me I can talk to him whenever I need to, and he's still around to hear me. My dad is a single parent. He moved us into this huge, mansion-like house when I was about 13. The house was haunted by a friendly kid ghost and his 3 mean uncle ghosts. Me and the younger, friendly ghost fell in love with each other, but we obviously could never be together, cause he was a ghost. How spooky and romantic.
Reddit.
Me and my BF were playing SNES in my room, yeah, I'm that old, when suddenly, the room filled with thick and hazy cigarette smoke. The smell of nicotine was overpowering and we were both really confused as nobody in my family ever smoked and we lived in a detached house, so it couldn't have been the neighbors either. The smoke hung around for about a minute, then it cleared and vanished as suddenly as it had arrived. Later that afternoon, we found out that my friend's mom had used a Ouija board to contact her father, my friend's grandfather, who had died a year previously from lung cancer. Apparently he smoked 60 a day and always smelled like cigarettes. She was unable to contact him that day, but that's the only explanation I have for the weirdness.
Wow, you are old.
He knew where the real fun was happening, so he ditched her to hang out with you all, and have one last cigarette with his grandkid.
66 a day, Jesus Christ.
I had fallen asleep at night with my fan running, and woke up freezing. I turned it off. Not long after, I woke up hot, and turned it back on. This happened several times. The last time, I woke up hot once again, and the moment I opened my eyes, I heard the pull of my fan and looked up to see it slowly start speeding up. I said, "Thank you," and fell back asleep.
Gotta appreciate those helpful spirits.
Casper wanted a cuddle. I was a manager of computer repair for a retailer a couple years ago. We had a client's computer in the back running various malware and virus scans. I was doing morning paperwork in the back near the computer. This PC had its screensaver on displaying random photos from the My Pictures folder, various family members, children's birthday parties, the usual stuff. Then I swear to God I saw a picture of a woman from the shoulders up with her throat cut. As soon as I realized what I was making out, I directed my full attention and it was back to photos of a car show. As the day went on I thought nothing of it and proceeded continue my work until I was bringing another customer's PC to the back to work on, and again from my peripheral I could have sworn I saw a bloody body inbound in the trunk of a car. At that moment I began to freak out. I grabbed one of my employees, explained to him the situation. We then sat for 10 minutes and watched this screensaver. It is against company policy to search through the client's personal files without absolute just cause. We then proceeded to see a photo, 2 bodies in a shallow grave out in the woods, and another photo of a severed hand down in kitchen drawer. I then went and got the general manager and informed him of the situation and had him view this screensaver. We then felt that it would be in everyone's best interest to contact law enforcement. In about 15 minutes later, owner of the computer and another gentleman show up. I proceed to tell him that his computer is not ready and it will be a while. He then informs me that he was called there because someone reported there was some photographs of a grisly murder that we had found. I showed him his computer and then his partner then begins to laugh at him. Apparently he went against police policy and took some of his work home with him and had never noticed his work photos were being used as a screensaver.
Reddit?
I lived in a house for about 5 years that was haunted, but not in a malicious way, in a shitty roommate kind of way. I'd come home to the windows on the second floor being open when it was raining, 2 food containers being open in the fridge that I hadn't touched yet. The worst was that the ghost hated clocks. She hated them. I had antique clocks that had worked for 50 years that would just stop. Brand new wall clocks that ate through batteries like it was candy. My watch ended up on the floor one morning. The crystal shattered, even though I knew I slept with it on. The one that pissed me off the most was that I got a brand new Kit Kat clock for Christmas, and the bitch threw it off the wall. I was cooking and out of corner of my eye saw the cat freaking fly. Turned around and it was across the kitchen. Broken. It was brand new. I had a 1-bedroom apartment once, and as soon as it got dark enough outside, this old dude would walk from the bedroom to the bathroom all night. I would have to warn people the first time they came over you were gonna see a ghost. Mid-conversation people would stop talking and be like, holy shit, I just seen a ghost. Yeah, no shit, I warned you. One time, I was in the bathroom when he attempted to walk in and just dissolved into a mist that dissipated very quickly. My current house I share with my wife is a 3 bedrooms and we sleep on a futon in the living room because the buttard ghosts in this house were chain smokers in the main bedroom. We wake up every night between 3 and 3:30 a.m. if we sleep on the second floor, coughing our lungs out because the room is full of cigarette smoke.
Why don't you record it on camera?
Reddit.
I was living with my now mother-in-law in the house she had just purchased a few months before. We had all had various weird feelings or experiences in the house, but 2 really stick out. Collectively, there were 3 dogs living in the house at the time. One evening we are all sitting with our backs to the hallway, this is significant, watching a movie. All of a sudden my German Shepherd and my Terrier both perk up their ears and start staring down the hallway behind where we are sitting. I mean, full attention. I notice and turn around, the light in the hall was off. It was dark, but of course don't see anything. 5 minutes later, they're still staring and now growling. This time my wife and I turn around and we both watch as the light switch on the wall gets flipped to on. Dogs went crazy and so did we. A few weeks later, same scenario, light is off and we are watching a movie. My German Shepherd loved to play fetch and we always had a million balls around to entertain her. This time, she's staring down the hallway and wagging her damn tail. This time, we all notice again and start to watch. I swear to God, a ball, single orange tennis ball came rolling down the hallway towards her. We all went white. There were a few others, but Jesus, I hated that hallway. It never felt like a bad energy, but my feeble little brain was still scared nonetheless.
This reminds me so much of the house I grew up in. The hallway was terrifying and there was always something going on with the light. A few times my dogs got all amped up and started barking at the light fixture too. Scared the crap out of me. The light had 2 switches, one at either end of the hall. The issue is they didn't always work. Sometimes you could flip the switch and it would turn on, but sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes you had to run down the hall, flip the other switch, and even then it still wouldn't go. Then you'd have to run back and it might turn on. Super weird. Anyway, one night I was home in the living room with my sister and suddenly my stereo in my bedroom, at the end of the hall, started blasting. And I mean blasting. I do not listen to my music loud, This isn't the first time that happened, but it always creeps me out, so I just decided to run for it and shut it off ASAP, not bother with the creepy light switch. I get about 2 feet away from the end of the hall and something shoves me and I land flat on my back. My head smacked the ground. My sister witnessed this and it really freaked her out. Me too, but I was a bit dazed. I just got up and ran to my bedroom to shut off the music. So creepy.